YouTubers, welcome back to AZ2 Ozarks. It is February 1st and it is a lovely day, really. It is overcast, it's a little bit drizzly, sprinkly, but it's about 50 degrees out, so it's quite nice. And actually, yesterday and today we are starting a lot of our seeds for our spring garden because it is about 12 weeks until our last frost. What the video today is about is that we have a big winter storm coming this way, and the locals are really anticipating that this is going to be the big one. Now, back in 2009, they had a big ice storm which took out power lines and left a lot of people without power for about 2 weeks. We are in the more rural area that was affected by that storm, and so we are making some preparations in order to be prepared for this storm and make sure we don't have any really big issues. So I'm going to go over today what some of our preparations are. As far as the chickens, goats, and rabbits go, everything is done manually for their care as far as the difference between when we're having a storm and normal times. So we will continue to just fill up their water periodically throughout the day and make sure that they have warm water and water that is not frozen. Though the temperatures are not expected to get super low with this storm, we're only looking at temperatures down to maybe about 19 degrees. And so that's not super cold, but still we'll want to make sure that everybody keeps liquid water. The cattle, on the other hand, are actually still on the neighbor's property, which is leased land, and the watering system there is flowing, and so it keeps it from getting iced over. If they were over here, we have a water de-icer for their water trough, and we would just go ahead and do that. The rabbits, same thing, they're over in their hutch. And basically, if the sleet is coming down at an angle towards their cages, we'll go ahead and block them so the weather doesn't come in. You can see here that the goats all have houses, plenty of room for all 11 of them. That's the buck over there. He's separate from everybody else. We have the chickens. And there's the chicken coop. We've got some spare lumber hanging around right now, but the chickens will likely just stay in their coop if it's bad weather. We have a little block on the door to keep the goats out because the goats have a habit of liking to go in there and just hang out in the chicken coop. So that's all we'll be doing for the animals. Sasha, the guardian dog, stays outside full time. She never comes indoors. She does have a nice little house over here that she has never, in fact, used. We've tried putting her food in there and her water in there and trying to get her to go in there, and she'll stand outside of it and eat out of her food dish just like that. So during inclement weather, she seems to be perfectly content out in the weather. She has plenty of places she can go to be dry and warm if she chooses, but it really seems that she doesn't choose to. We do have a de-icer on her water dish, so it keeps her with fresh water all the time, and she'll just continue to eat as normal. When it's more cold, I give her more of her fresh food, which is actually deer meat. And she also gets a chicken foot every day, which is from the chickens that we butchered last summer. Murphy the beagle, on the other hand, is a little more pampered. He does not have the coat and insulation for being outdoors when it's super cold, and so he will be inside with us most of the time when it is the colder temperatures. He does not like being wet at all, and so that's just kind of how it goes with Murphy the beagle. The outdoor garden is currently on a rest period, and so I've been adding the litter from the chicken coop out here for fertilizing, especially in this area because this is where I grew corn last year. It is a heavy feeder, and so we want to make sure it has plenty of nutrients for the upcoming planting season. The only thing still growing out here is garlic, and it's almost a little bit dormant right now just because it's so cold. But in the spring, the garlic will green back up, it'll shoot up, and then it will have scapes, and then it will be time to harvest. So there's nothing special that I'll be doing for this outdoor garden area. They don't have to be covered or anything. It's just garlic doing garlicky things. Inside the greenhouse, things are pretty bleak right now too. There are plants that had died off in an extended frost, and I just left them. I will turn them under before I move forward with the new planting season. There's a couple things that have survived. Like here is some pak choi that seems to be making a bit of a comeback. And down here, I have my tools and things all spread out in here right now. Down here we have some spinach, and while it's still alive, it is not thriving. The days are really short, and so the spinach is just like barely growing. I keep harvesting the outer leaves off of the plants, so we'll, take off the outer guys and then let it keep growing. But the growth is very slow. All that just to say that I won't be doing anything special inside the greenhouse either. To get ready for the weather, we'll just kind of let it do its thing as it has been all winter. These temperatures actually won't be as cold as some of the temperatures we've already had. Inside the house, I am finishing up all laundry so that we will have plenty of clean clothes and towels and bedding and all that good stuff in case the power does go out for an extended period of time and I'm not able to do laundry. Additionally, I am filling up 5 of these 5-gallon water tanks that have these cool little pour spouts on them. So they're really convenient for washing dishes and washing hands, things like that, in case the power is out and we don't want to run the generator constantly in order to fill the well or have the well running. So we have a bunch of those. We'll also be filling up the 2 bathtubs, so it'll be easy to scoop water from the bathtub into the back of the toilet so that toilets can keep flushing. Now I am out in the furnace room. So this is our wood burning furnace, and we stacked up some dry wood here inside in addition to the entire stack outside. The kids filled up a bucket with some smaller pieces, kind of like kindling. Over here we keep our paperboard trash so that we can use that to help get a fire started if we need to. The kids went in and cleared out the ash, and so it is ready to get rip-roaring. Now this does work best in conjunction with the fan from the central heat and air, and that does require electricity, but it will heat without that. But we do have the backup generators just in case. We want to make sure, everything's functioning top-notch. One of the biggest concerns in an ice storm is that the power can go out. So ice will form in sheets on the power lines and hang down, causing a big weight on the lines, and they collapse. They fall down and break, and that's what takes the power company time to get it back up. We're out in the country, and so they get up the higher density areas first, and so we're a little bit later on that path. We are over here at the breaker box, so we're going to do a simulation if the power were to go down. So we're turning it off. If the power were to go out, we would still need to come over and shut off this breaker, because if we back charge the power, we do not want the power to go up the line and down the line to where the guys could potentially be working on the power, and then it would zap them. So we do not want that at all. So if the power does go out, either way, we would have to turn off at the breaker before we could do anything different. And what we would be using is our generator over here. So we now have the power to the house turned off, and we've got the generator. So there is a male connection that is plugged in over here to the generator.
And then this one will go to the welder box here.
So another male connection, and that's what, 50 amp?
This is a 50 amp welder outlet, but I want to start the generator and run it first and get it up to full power before you plug that in. Because if there's anything sensitive in the house and it picks up low voltage, it might hurt it, so, like computers or TVs.
Okay.
So we're going to start it and see if we can create a fire.
So this is why you test things before the storm is here. So what Rick thought was going to work in order to backfeed to the garage out here and then all the way to the house and the shop, it did not work. So back to the drawing board to figure out how to get this power working if we need a backup source. So what we suspect happened is that this is a 4-wire outlet, and this was a 4-wire plug, and then this over here is only a 3-wire. So Rick has now switched it to the neutral on this plug, so it will connect that way, and we think this will resolve it. What he's going to do differently this time is he's going to connect this end into the outlet first, because we know that it's off and it's safe, so this isn't connected to anything. Because if he connects this one first here while it's running, and then that one is live. So if you touch those prongs while it's live, you can get a pretty good shock.
If you were to touch that, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, so right now there's no power to it, so that's all safe. And then we will plug this one in after the generator is running. Let's see if we can get some power this time. So what happened is Rick had the breaker turned off to that outlet, which is technically the welder outlet. And so he turned that breaker on inside the little garage, and that's when the power came on. But before he had even turned that on, it was running the well pump. So that was pretty cool because, you know, water is a big deal. We are trying to have all the backup systems for water, but either way, we want to make sure that we can refill if we have to. So we're coming up to the house to see if the power's on, and I see the lights on. Ta-da! Okay, so the generator running over here in the little garage, back feeding into our outlet with the breaker box off, is powering the little garage, the big shop, and the house. So we will have power if the power goes out and we need it. We don't intend to run it the entire time, but we do have fuel cans to refill. Is that one gas or diesel?
Gas.
That's gas. So we have fuel cans filled up, so we can definitely refill water if we need to. We can keep the well pump going. We can also keep the freezers and the fridge cool. We probably just won't be able to do things like laundry and extra things. So we know we will have backup power and we have backup water available. The other things we could potentially need would be food and water. So we have plenty of food stocked up in the refrigerator, the freezers, and the pantry. We even have some things stored from our garden, such as pumpkins, squashes, and sweet potatoes left. And we have 5-gallon jugs of drinking water. And so we should be good on all of those fronts. As far as cooking goes, we have a propane range. And so the oven definitely requires electricity to run because it's all electronic controls. But I can use the stovetop without electricity. I just have to use a lighter or an Amon flame in order to get it started, but then the propane works just fine. We also have backup systems for that. We could use a campfire, but we also have camping cook stoves, which run on white gas, and we do have those filled up. So I think we should be pretty set on all fronts. I have started a lot of my seeds indoor for my spring garden, and so I filled up I think it's a 2-gallon waterer so that I can easily just water them all and not have to worry about filling up anything different for that. One inconvenience we may experience this week is no trash service because the trash is scheduled to come on the worst day of the weather, and so the trash probably won't come out. But the good news is we do have a burn barrel, so we are able to burn trash so it doesn't pile up on us. You know, we won't burn everything, but a lot can go in there. Also, we were working on getting all the vehicles into the garage so there's no potential damage from ice or what do you call it, hail could happen. So we've got the trucks put away and tucked away. The roads are only really supposed to be bad for 2, maybe 3 days, but they just don't have the infrastructure here in order to clear the roads. Unfortunately, we don't currently have enough room to get the tractor in the garage. We've got all the hay in there right now. So the community doesn't have the infrastructure to clear roads, and so anytime there's bad weather like this, they will cancel school because they don't want anybody risking being out on the roads. But we homeschool, so that won't affect us. We have plenty of indoor activities to do, lots of games and books to read, plus we will be working on our lessons. We anticipate having all of our homeschool lessons finished by spring. That way, when things pick up on the farm, such as the cows will start calving, the goats are expected to have some kids, as well as just planting the gardens and maintaining the gardens is a huge, huge effort for the whole family. So it's good to have all the homeschool lessons done before we get to that busy time of year. It's not likely any mail will come for the next couple days if there's ice and snow. Like I said, it's pretty fair weather place here, so if the roads are at all slick, they don't even bother with any of the services. These are the precautions that we've taken in order to get ready for our winter storm coming starting tomorrow morning. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up and go ahead and comment down below what you do in order to get ready for a storm and make sure you're not left out in the cold per se. And make sure to subscribe so you can see how this all turns out. We don't know if this forecast is a bit of hyperbole or if it's something that will actually come to fruition.